Yeah, what's going on for me at present is got a bit of egotism coming to the fore in the sense, that it's like I have some authority now, and it's it's hard to let go of in the sense that due to parentification or wanting to parentize, you know, um, I've locked onto a notion where you know, there may be an element of transformation in a spectra, to use a word that I just learnt. Um, where I guess there's a lot of interplay, that can be deemed as scandalous in nature, but in essence, it's just people's personalities coming to the fore, and for me, having serious control issues, I find it difficult to interact with people who are being frivolous, jocular, and jovial. It's meant to be an indication of health and well-being and vitality and vigor. But for me, in essence, I fear for people like that, that they're going to get smashed. And, a lot of it's a projection of my own due to the nature of, trauma, and, I guess that's why I lead a very isolated existence, because, I, um, I over or dysfunction comes to the fore, and survival mechanisms come into play, and I detach from that kind of activity, but too much, in the sense that I end up in assignment, so to speak, where um I guess I get a sense that I'm not in control, but I try and um suppress feelings of annoyance, I guess, because people who display that kind of reckless and gay abandon, I think are vulnerable, and that's where the projection comes in. What I'm experiencing is vulnerability, and I detach from that, because um, I don't want anyone to know, because of self-judgment, where I fear, um, that nothing I'm going to do or say is going to be of any merit at all. So I go into damage control, and you know, um, and that's how I cope, basically. I can't really parent anyone else, but I can certainly parent myself, and I guess that's where I lose the ability to connect with others, because basically I insulate myself mentally and emotionally, from what could be perceived as creative license, where people are being spontaneous. For me, I guess that's where, like I mentioned, parentification comes in, and I judge that kind of activity as being indiscrepant or indiscriminate. They're not discriminating. Or no, that's this bullshit. It's indiscriminate. Where I guess mania is at foot, and I find it very difficult to tolerate, and I guess that's why I detach. Or otherwise, like I mentioned, assign my role of being the arbiter, and no one wants to have a fuss pot, basically lording it over them. So that's why I detach, and basically, just become very self-conscious and insecure. And I guess I'm ashamed of the fact that, in essence, there isn't a parent in the house, so to speak, so that burden of responsibility falls back onto myself, and I I guess that's another reason why I fail to connect, because if I was to issue any sort of or assert any sort of boundary, then I'd have to use scorn or shame, to and that would be, in essence, the source of rejection and abandonment that I experienced in my early childhood trauma, where parents shunned me, basically. So I guess that's what I do, basically, is I detach. I assign myself a parenting role. I realize that would be rejected. So what comes to the fore then is, shame. Because kids will be kids, so to speak, or narcissists will be narcissistic, and I have no power over that, and I guess that's where that powerlessness comes in. Because what it does to me is render me, helpless, and I don't want anyone to know that. That I am detecting or projecting that helplessness onto others. And that's where I guess I learnt to or try and maintain an attitude of detached neutralism. Because I don't want to distress anyone or trigger them or trigger their feelings of shame and self-loathing, because they'll then depersonalize and assault me. So I think I've learnt through this dialogue or narrative, the stronger, I've just become stronger in basically in my ability to be able to pronounce or experience something that is becoming pronounced in my intuition and instinct, and that I can now employ strategies and tactics basically, because I feel as though I am becoming accomplished in my own bullshit, or my own distortion, filters. I'm learning to filter, which is promising, so I don't know what's going to come of this, but it's it's I guess I could only use one word: faith. My faith within myself, as I'm getting more clarity in regards to the issues I have and the concerns, to realize, that powerlessness is about having concerns. I'm allowed to be concerned. It's an indication of fucking maturity, I think. Where you can care for others, detach from their behavior, and exhibit concerns, as to where that kind of activity may lead to. So I think I may go and get something to eat now. And once I've uploaded, it's been a while since I've posted a video, and so I'm still a babe, but I'm comfortable with that. So it's good to be sane. Please subscribe or comment, and no, not really. This is just a ploy, really, that others may view. But that's my egotism or egoism, where I project internally in my inner realm as in regards to others. I was going to use the word culprits, but that's what I detach from. Culprits. Fucking crazy shit.